At its most basic, Avgo Lemino is a broth-based soup, and it's thickened with a mixture of lemon juice and eggs. It's creamy, it's comforting, especially with the addition of rice. Now, it's traditionally served as a starter, but Julie and I are going to show you a much heartier version that's perfect as a main course.
That's right. We're going to bump up the amount of rice a little bit and add some chicken, so it's a bit heartier.
All right.
But it all comes down to one thing, the lemon. Because lemon is one of the major flavorings of this soup. And you can't just dump in a bunch of lemon juice and expect that floral flavor. You need some of the zest. In fact, we're going to make 12 of these strips of zest, a lot of it. And when you're zesting, you just want to make sure you just get that outer layer, that outer zest. You don't want to get any of that white pith, because that white pith will make the soup taste very bitter, especially with this amount. So that's 12 of these total. And what we're going to do is I'm going to make a little sachet of all these flavorings that go into the soup so we can just pluck it out and have a nice smooth soup without having to strain it too much. So I'm going to take the lemon zest, put it in the middle. I'm going to add a little bit of fresh dill. So these are 2 sprigs. I'm going to curl into a nice little center there. A little bit of coriander. This is 2 teaspoons of coriander seeds.
And it has a lemony flavor as well.
It sure does. That's a teaspoon of black peppercorns. Last but not least, 1 crushed garlic clove. So this is just an 8-inch square piece of cheesecloth. I'm just gonna pick up the corners, a little bit of twine. All right, so now we're gonna put this sachet into 8 cups of really good chicken broth.
So you can check out our homemade chicken broth recipe on our website, americastestkitchen.com.
This is 1 cup of long grain white rice. And I'm gonna bring this to a boil over high heat. Then once it's boiling, I'm gonna cover it, turn it down to low, and let it cook for just 5 minutes. So while this comes to a boil, I'm gonna work on our chicken. So this is 1.5 pounds of boneless, skinless chicken. Before we cook it, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut it in half lengthwise, and I'm going to salt it. And also by cutting it in half, there's more surface area, better for the salt. It also means the chicken will cook through more quickly, and when we go to shred it, it'll already be in smaller sizes. Put them back in the bowl. And this is 1 3/4 teaspoon of table salt. You want to let this sit for about 15 minutes or up to half an hour before we add it to the broth. All right, so this came to a boil, then we reduced it down to a simmer for just 5 minutes. Now the rice isn't fully cooked at this point, but this is when we're gonna add the chicken. And we're gonna add the chicken off the heat. And the chicken's gonna poach in the hot broth, but very gently. So if we kept it on the heat, it would be very vigorous. The chicken would cook unevenly. The outside would get dried out before the inside cooked through.
Rubbery.
Yeah, but off the heat, it poaches through nice and gently, stays good and tender. We're gonna cover this, and again, the heat's gonna stay off. We're gonna let this sit for about 15 minutes. All right, so I'm just gonna take out this sachet. It's done its job. Take out the chicken. Now, I don't have to worry about temping it at this point because we're gonna shred it and add it back to the hot soup. So if it's all underdone, no worry, it'll heat back through and finish cooking in the soup.
All right.
Traditionally, this is the point at which you add the egg yolks, and you do a liaison, which is a little of the hot broth, whisk in the yolks, add it back to the soup, and finish it very quickly. And there's actually the Avgo Lemino prayer, which is please don't break, please don't break, please don't break, because if you don't do it right, the eggs can curdle in the hot soup. We found a better way, and it's using some of the cooked rice that's in the soup. So I'm just gonna measure out a cup of cooked rice. Now we're gonna take this rice, we're gonna add it to a blender, and to this we're gonna add 6 tablespoons of fresh lemon juice.
It's the Lemino.
That's right. And so the eggs not only add richness, but they're a thickening power as well. But you know, it's the whites that actually taste eggy. So we're actually gonna use 2 eggs and 2 yolks, and by getting rid of 2 of the whites, a little less eggy tasting. So 2 large eggs, and then 2 large yolks. And now we're just gonna blend this up till it's nice and smooth, and that takes about a minute. All right, let's take a good look here. Ooh, you can see how creamy that is.
Velvety.
And now it's time to take our chicken and we're gonna shred it into bite-sized pieces that will fit on a soup spoon. Now when this is done shredding, I'm gonna put it back in the soup and bring it back to a boil before I add my special egg mixture.
Well, looks like you got a little bit of work.
Just a little.
Well, let's talk a little bit about eggs and thickening. Now, eggs are a signature part of Avgo Lemino, but we needed a way to add them to our hot soup without scrambling those eggs. Sometimes we temper eggs by adding a small amount of hot liquid first, but tempering is not foolproof. You can still end up with curdled eggs. Here, we're skipping the tempering step and using rice instead. Rice contains a molecule called amylose, one of the 2 molecules that make up starch. When the amylose from the cooked rice mixes with the eggs, it isolates the egg proteins, making it much harder for the proteins to curdle. So that's what gives our soup a perfectly smooth texture.
So I finished shredding that chicken and added it to the soup and brought it back to a simmer. And it's time to add our egg mixture. So I turned off the heat, And I'm just gonna stir this right into the soup.
And you don't have to be gentle. It can all go in at once.
That's it, you don't have to temper it, you can just stir it right in. That's how you do it.
And it's thickening as it's heating. The eggs are starting to set.
Finish it with a little fresh chopped dill. This is 2 teaspoons. And that is it.
That looks beautiful.
A one-pot wonder.
So I've got my bowl ready.
I can tell. Oh, get that chicken and rice from the bottom. I love this recipe. So simple, so light, so easy. Creamy, lemony, but it's still light.
It really is. This is velvety.
I
And
know.
it really is the perfect texture. Well, if you'd like to make our Avgo Lemino, cut chicken breasts in half to speed up cooking and salt them to season. Create a spice bundle with lemon zest, dill, and coriander seeds, and cook the bundle and rice in homemade chicken broth. Poach the chicken in the broth off the heat to keep it tender, then shred the chicken. Blend rice, lemon juice, and egg yolks until smooth, then stir it all into the hot broth. A little dill and lemon juice to finish, and it's perfect for dinner. So from our test kitchen to your kitchen, a superb Greek chicken and rice soup with egg and lemon. And you can get this recipe and all the recipes from this season, along with our tastings, testings, and selected episodes on our website, americastestkitchen.com. It's my soup getting cold.
Thanks for watching America's Test Kitchen. What'd you think?
Well, leave a comment and let us know which recipes you're excited to make, or you can just say hello.
You can find links to today's recipes and reviews in the video description.
And don't forget to subscribe to our channel.
See you later.
I'll see you later.